and 30. Okay, so here we have question 29 and 30. This is from SAT number 13, which is the April 2018 International Test. Okay, so let's jump in. So first thing is 29 and 30, we have a paired question. And 29 asks, which choice best describes the nature of the relationship between the broad bean plants and fungi discussed in the passage? Um, so a couple things. So this questions or these questions, these are the end of the passage, right? So the passage in general is sort of talking, it just looks at a single experiment, and it goes through the whole experiment. So it goes into sort of introducing it, the methodology, the hypothesis, the data collection, the conclusions, everything, and analysis is already towards the end. So we should expect that the text that we choose for question 30 will come toward the end, and all of them pretty much are, starting from 58 to 76. These are like the last three paragraphs that I have printed out here. So far, so good. Now, the main thing, the main prediction and thing we should notice is that we want something that describes the nature of the relationship. What I think is that typically with science passages, the structure you have is once you get to the conclusion of the study, you sort of have like reflection on the rest of it. So a lot of times in science studies, you'll have reflection that will say, from here on out, these are questions that remain to be answered, or these are new questions or new studies that should be done, or here's people who disagree with the study, or here's some other commentary, or here's just a general reflection of what the study means and what the importance of the study is, and that's what we should expect. So here, if we're talking about the general nature of the relationship between broad bean plants and fungi, I'm gonna think this is probably gonna be as close to the end as we can get, right? And we're looking for something very general. So what we're going to do is the way I teach it is we're going to start with answer choices A, right? And we're going to work through A, B, C, D for question 30. And we're going to look for a text that tells us about the general nature of the relationship, okay? We may not be able to eliminate it to one, maybe two, maybe sometimes three, but that's okay. We'll do the best we can. And honestly, for about 80% of the time, we can pick one answer choice. So 58 through 61 tells us, crucially, the team got the same result in the case of uninfested plants that had been uninterrupted and hyphal contact with the infested ones, but had had root contact blocked. So we're actually still sort of in the thick of the passage. We're still giving the conclusions, right? Some of the more detailed conclusions. We haven't gotten to like a point of general reflection yet, so we should get rid of A here. 61 through 64 says, if both hyphae and roots have been blocked throughout the experiment, though the volatiles from uninfested plants actually attracted aphids. Um, so this is sort of in the same position as the last answer choice. Right? We're still in the conclusion process. We're still giving like more specific details of the conclusion without getting to a point where we're giving more higher level reflection. So for that reason, this one is also not going to be a good choice. And 65 through 69, I already see it's in the same paragraph. Let's see what it says. The same pertains for the odor of uninfested plants whose hypoconnections have been allowed to develop. So again, this is a too specific claim. It doesn't tell us a general picture of this relationship between the fungi and the hypo plants. And the broad bean plants. It doesn't tell us about the general relationship between the two. So because it's still sort of in the thick of the conclusion, it hasn't told us about something higher level or general, we should eliminate this one as well. 72, 76, we're in a new paragraph, things look good. This is also the last paragraph, sort of what we should expect. It says, such a general response, no doubt, helps the plant first attack by attracting yet more wasps to the area. It helps the fungal messengers by preserving their leguminous hosts. Okay, so this is sort of a reflection on the whole process. And I know I don't have the whole passage here, but just in general, the process is that you have a broad bean plant. When they're grouped together, you have aphids attack one. It sends out a bunch of chemicals. The chemicals, one, attract wasps, which the wasp will eat the aphids. And then two, it sends out these chemicals, and the fungi that are around it send those chemicals further to other plants so that those also start to send things that will repel the aphids and attract the wasps. And what this is saying is that the reason this general response works is that it helps the plant first, right? When the plant's getting attacked by aphids, it sends out a signal, chemical signal to attract wasps and to repel the aphids. And the reason the fungi sort of communicate those signals to other plants is because it helps them, because they're feeding off of the plants, right? They need the plants. So if the plants die, they die too. So they're trying to help the plants along. You know? So this is definitely going to be our choice. It's a general picture. It's in the last paragraph. This is a good one. So, and based on what we just read, again, the relationship is sort of symbiotic. They're working together because they both benefit from the situation. So let's go to the answer choices. A says that they are mutually beneficial since both organisms profit from the arrangement. This seems pretty good. That's pretty true. That's what we want. They're mutually beneficial. They both profit from the arrangement. Let's choose it. B, somewhat unbalanced since one organism appears to benefit more than the other. So this is not said in the passage, right? All it says is that it helps the plant first, and then it also helps the fungal messengers. But even though the order, this helps this person, in that the order is not the same thing as saying that it's unbalanced, right? Where one is benefiting another one more than the other. So we could eliminate the C says they're highly parasitic. Again, this is like a very strong claim, highly parasitic, slightly negative, so we should be skeptical of it. And basically, C goes even farther than D in saying that not only does one organism benefit more than the other, but one organism doesn't benefit from the other one experiences harm. Again, that's not what it said here. It says that they're mutually beneficial, right? Or at least they're symbiotic. D says necessarily codependent, since neither organism can produce chemicals independently of the other. Nothing. Um, necessarily codependent, since neither organism can produce chemicals independently of the other. So we got to pay attention here. It's a more specific claim than A, right? More specific. So I'm already a little skeptical because I don't see anything wrong with A at the beginning. But we can also sort of examine what's going on. Basically, what they're saying is that they need each other because the fungi by itself can't produce chemicals and the plant itself can't produce chemicals. But what we should know in the passages earlier, and I should have had it represented here, but I didn't do it. Um, what we should remember is that it basically says the plant. Oh no, sorry, it even says it here. Um, a general response, no doubt, helps the plant first by attracting yet more wasps to the area. So basically, the plant by itself, independently, can produce chemicals that will attract wasps and repel aphids. They don't need the fungi for it. The fungi just serve as messengers, right? So for that reason, we eliminate D, which means we're going to choose answer choice A, question 29, and answer choice D for question 30.